but that was way better than my win. We just every session we've been right up there. We've been fast. So, massive credit to the team because they run a impeccable structure. That feeling like crossing the line on that first podium was just unbelievable. And I'm not trying to. That's the nice thing about it, is that I'm not going out there with a new set of tyres and going, right, I need to push for a lap time.
Welcome to Cadwell Park. Welcome to Lammy OMG Racing hospitality. And yes, we have turned the microphone on this time. Welcome, Ryan VICKERS. Ryan, welcome back, mate.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to be here. A little bit later on in the season this time. We've got the cameras recording this time. So, really looking forward to this one.
Thanks for reminding me of that earlier on. I'd forgotten we'd done that. So for those of you that don't know, when we did the walk around at the test at Donington Park earlier in the year, we had a 10-minute chat with Ryan, happened to look down, and I hadn't pressed record on the voice recorder. So we had to do it all again. So thank you again for your patience on that one, mate. But we are rolling this time, so we're okay. So, mate, how's it been? How's the season?
Yeah, really good. I mean, last time we spoke, Donington test, I was just getting going on the bike and actually got to fly. Little did I know, little broken wrist and stuff like that, and it was a bit hampering our progress. And we only found that out at round 2. Round 1 at Silverstone, it was the first time back in the dry. Donington test was wet, it's the only sort of first time that we found out that we've got a bit of a problem here, and I was struggling to ride because it was in the dry again. And we had an X-ray Saturday morning at Snetterton, and it turns out I had a fractured scaphoid, probably one of the worst bones to break in your wrist for sure, let alone the rest of your body really. But and they said you definitely need an operation. So I was like, I decided to race the rest of the weekend at Silverstone, just because I'm a racer. Took a few painkillers. I knew what the problem was, and I knew if it didn't crash and aggravate, I wasn't really going to cause it any more damage. So I knew I needed an operation anyway. So we did that. We ended up having the operation at the Alton Park test. Missed Alton Park round 2, and then we made the comeback at Donington round 3. So it's been great since then. Donington came straight back. I had a 7th. Then race 2, I got my first podium, P2. And then finished P4 in the last race, and missed out on the podium by a 10th or something with Glen Owen. So it's just an amazing comeback. Really, like that feeling, like crossing the line on that first podium was just unbelievable. There's been a lot of waiting to do, and we've been very close for a fair few years and had a lot of bad luck. And it was just the emotions were unbelievable for everyone. And then we went on, and we was Knockhill and all of that, and another podium, and then we kept the ball rolling. Snetterton, we didn't get on the podium, but we was riding really well. P4 again, missing out on the podium, but missing out on the win by 2/10, I think it was, or something. So we've been so strong ever since, and then went to Brands, and managed to get my first race win, which is again amazing. It was actually a bit of a weird thing. It wasn't as good as any of the other podiums, the feeling, because it was a red flag race. So the achievement is still the same, but that feeling when you cross the finish line with the flag and it's like you roll back into the pits and it's done. I was in the lead, it got red flagged, and I was comfortable in the lead, and I don't think it would have changed too much if we would have raced, because there was a bit of a gap between me and P2. So it would have been a strong race anyway. But that feeling, we was all waiting of anticipation to see what they were going to do, whether they're going to restart it. We didn't really know. So it was one of them things, and they declared it, and first ever race win on the race winners list. It's great. There's a lot of people that have been on the podium and stuff like that, but there's a lot less that have won a race. So it's a bit more of a shorter list. So really, really proud to do that. Great to do it for the team. The second race was 5th. Great again, but it's first dry time in a couple of days. Made some changes for the last race, bike was a lot better, and we got another podium. So P3, and it was but that was way better than my win. It was we were back in P9, we just clawed it back, overtaking loads of people, and then the last lap, I think 2 laps from the end, I think I had like over a second to the leaders, and I clawed that back, setting fastest laps on the last lap and stuff like that. And it's just really cool things, massive boxes ticked, and since then we had another podium at Thruxton. Actually, I feel like that's the only round that we didn't capitalise as much as what we could have done or should have done as such, as opposed to every other circuit. It is a great Yamaha circuit, but we just didn't quite get the setup right. We lost a bit of time in FP2 from my mistake. FP3 got rained off. We just lost a bit of time. I don't know if that really hindered us a bit, but we just didn't quite have it. We didn't have what the other guys had. We was leading the race in the last race for half of it at least, So yeah, it's been an amazing season, and we're here at Cadwell, and we did the test night last night. It was P2. We did FP1 this morning, P3. We just every session we've been right up there. We've been fast, so absolutely loving it, loving the team, loving the bike, loving the whole situation, and loving all the support.
It's so good to see it because there've been some difficult years, and there's been some injuries and some picking gravel out of places. It's been tough, and British Superbikes isn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. We've reinforced this on the podcast so often. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But you've got 24 lads out there on top of their game, and you have to be on top of your game as well. And sometimes with external factors, it's not easy to stay focused for as long as you can to get the best when you're racing against lads that have been doing this for 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. And also, unfortunately this year that the bike is good and we don't change it very much. So that focus thing, I've made a lot of mistakes from lack of focus, but not all dependent on me because I'm focusing too much on what the bike's doing. I'm putting 70% of my effort into anticipating what the bike's going to be doing and what it should be doing and what I can do to make it better and all these sorts of things, instead of just riding the bike as hard as I can and hitting every apex. And that's what I've been able to develop more on the Yamaha, because the bike is it's not the best in every area, but it works well everywhere. It's not exceptional everywhere, but it just works very well throughout any corner, any circuit condition. And that allows the guys to not do anything crazy with setup. You get always a good feeling from the first session, even if you are a little bit off on setup, it's still good. You know what I mean? Like, you can make it better, but it's still good. So you always hit the weekends running a little bit, and I'm never focusing my energy on things I shouldn't be doing. I'm just focused on riding the bike and being consistent and hitting my apexes, and that's shown this year.
So having that base set up before you even get here, because you can't rely on anything that happened from the team last year because they've gone from Öhlins to Baitubo.
Yeah.
And that brings its own challenges as well. But it's been a seamless change. For Kyle's ridden both. Obviously, we're speaking to Kyle later on. For you coming into it onto the R1 for this season, you've just kind of picked up where Brad left off, and seeing the new proper real Ryan Vickers has been fantastic to see so far.
Yeah, exactly. The guys last year did an amazing year. They rode the bike really well, and it was consistent and fast, and they're the two crucial bits. If you're fast and consistent, then you got a good chance of winning the championship, because at BSB it's easy to make mistakes, and it's so close. So it's easy to, even when you're having a bad weekend, to be way down. Thruxton, Ducatis and things like that, they've been dominating this year, and they were miles off. Didn't see one all weekend, which is so weird. And it's not in an arrogant way, but we've gone from battling with them and struggling to get them out of our air. We can't pass them to not even seeing them, not even seeing a single one. It's weird, and seeing different manufacturers and different bikes for the first time. And that is the good thing about BSB. It's not always the same thing. I think the Yamaha is the most consistent at being the same. And also it's rider dependent as well. Some riders are stronger at other circuits. Carl's had a bit of a bad run at the minute, and he's finding his form a little bit again now. But it's one of them I've found. I've been strong at times at every circuit on the calendar, on any bike, but I just haven't put it all together to be strong at all of them, which we are doing this year, which is massive credit to the team, because they run a impeccable structure. It's absolutely faultless, and that is the biggest thing, is that it is faultless. Well, there's still things that we can all improve on, and there's still things where people do make mistakes, and the bike might have a technical issue, but we get back on track in the right way. We've always got a plan, and we never rush. We always do it in the right way, and that's how you put your races together, and that's the most important things. Your practice is a practice, but you got to be there in the race.
What I like for you have the continuity of staff as well. You got Dave as your crew chief, You got John Boy with you and Lewis as well. So they know what it takes with that bike to bring the best out of the rider. And I think there couldn't be a better group of guys for you to come in with. And we'll talk about Roger Marshall's input shortly, because I know how valuable that is. But to come into such a settled side of the team is something I think you've been needing for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do see myself a little bit unfortunate with some of the situations, even going back to like the Lee Hardy days. Sometimes like the package was there, but then maybe a crew chief or something left, and we lost a couple of staff and stuff like that. And it as much as you can go out on the exact same bike that someone else give you that was good at the time, but it's that continuity, that respect, that working with the same people, building relationships, having a relationship with people, And when I turn up to the weekend, we have a routine. And that is good for a rider's head. And that's the sort of things. It's not even the knowledge in the team. I'm sure that most teams that I've had have been able to give me a good bike, but the situation and the bike and the way that it's set up just hasn't clicked in some way. Whereas this year they know how the bike needs to work. And we've got all the data and stuff like that. I know suspension's changed, but they aren't afraid to go in a slightly different direction and to make me feel happy. They're not stuck in a way of, this average needs to be right, or that's not right, or this isn't right. It's, does it feel better or does it not? There's been multiple times when I've said to Dave, like where are we front fork position? And he's like, I don't know. I haven't looked at the data yet, and we're nearly going into qualifying. Sometimes, or we're way into a test or something like that, and he hasn't even looked at the data really for very much just basic reference points, but nothing in depth. He just literally goes off of my rider feedback, and I feel like that's massively helped because we've gone in our direction. I'm happy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the bike is sitting mid corner, as long as I'm going fast through that corner, not crashing, and feel comfortable, and great, leave it. If it works, and that's what I've really found a big difference this year, is that with the team really believe in me, and they trust that going in this, or it's not even that much of a different direction, but if it was to be, then we do it because they trust what I'm feeling and what I say. So it's and then I trust them. I say what the bike's doing, I leave the garage, I come back to the garage, and the guys say, we've done this, this, and this. I'm like, brilliant. I don't go, that's not really the direction I was thinking. That's not my job. And I trust them doing their job. They trust me doing my job. And that is the greatest thing about it. I have no concerns of what they do. They have no concerns of what I do. And we make forward progress.
This is the Ryan Vickers we've been waiting to see for the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Me too.
None more so than you.
Yeah.
And it is the age-old adage that a happy rider's a fast rider. We've spoken to Dan Linfoot over the past couple of weeks, and you see what Linny's doing and how his demeanour's changed leading the National Superstock Championship. And the one thing, and as great as that initial podium was for you at Donington Park, it was over the moon for yourself and the team and for the boys. But Snetterton, for me, mistake in qualifying, hands up, it happens, it's racing.
Yep.
Home round makes it difficult.
Yep.
But how you came back from that, for me, that showed the proper Ryan Vickers, the 2023 version.
Yeah.
Because you didn't dwell on it, and you got 3 races to get yourself back towards the front, and nothing was stopping you getting back towards the front. And for me, that summed up your new demeanour.
I'd say, well, that's down to the team situation. We had that crash in qualifying, my mistake. And from that crash, there was a couple of mechanical issues. We had 2 mechanical issues after that maybe could have been solved and not happened. And, and it can be a really frustrating time. We'd missed out on the first race, really. And then the second race, we started from the back of the grid. Luckily, it got red flagged and we was able to do that. But the team was just so calm, no one, I've seen it in situations, spanners are being thrown about, this and the other, people are swearing, going mad, crew chiefs going crazy because we're not here and the mail's back on here, and it all goes to pot, and I'm sat there like, stressed, you know what I mean? Like, whereas Dave comes up to me and he's like, sorted. Everything's all good. Your bike's going to be mint the next one. Got nothing to worry about. Just go out there and do what you do. And there's no worries. It's like, tomorrow's another day, fine. Just go ride your bike, do exactly what you've been doing, and you'll be sweet. And go out there. That's what we do. And, we knew it. The first race wasn't going to be easy, starting way back. The second race, then, it was back in the grid, and we had a 7-lap sprint, and we got to whatever, P5 or 6 or whatever it was now. It's a mega ride. And then we was front row of the grid for the last race, on pole or whatever he was. That's just, we had that mindset from the start. We've had a bad qualifying. Our first race isn't going to be easy. It was harder than what we anticipated because of the mechanical. But it is what it is. Second race, get a good lap time. So I pulled in at first and we still had a bit of a mechanical. And then they said it's fixed, went back out, did a fast lap. And that's what we went out to do, was to do a fast lap ready for the last race. Luckily it got red flagged, and then we started the race and we actually got a decent result as well and set the fastest lap. So we was then back where we should have been. We knew we should have been there all weekend, but we wasn't going to be able to go to where we should have been from race 1. If we would have tried going to P3, P4 from race 1, probably would have crashed.
Yeah.
And then would have ruined race 2. And then race 2 would have been ruined because race 1 was ruined, and then it would have been a bad weekend. But we just took what we could. We did the best of the situation we was in, and doing that each time actually give us the opportunity to have a really good last race. And that's just a different mindset that we've had this year. The team and everything, the way of working is different, and that really helped situations like that. We were on the money in the last race, and there's a bit of frustration because we knew we could have fought for the podium every race, but I can't even remember what it was now, a 7th, a 5th, and a 4th or something like that. That's not a bad weekend.
No.
And we were still the highest scorer in Yamaha and stuff like that, and we moved up in the championship. So it was like, wow, we've not done bad considering the way it started. So that's all credit to the team and their work ethic, really.
Wins come in all sorts of different forms, don't they? It's not just crossing the line first sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. We was really happy with it. And, even Thruxton, last race, we set a target and lap times, everything that we needed to be doing. Ideally, maybe wasn't to lead the race, but I got in the lead of the race, felt comfortable. I wasn't going any quicker than I should have done. We were doing the lap times that we knew that other people could do and lasted to the end of the race on the long race, and we did exactly that. I led loads of laps, was consistent, didn't miss an apex, and didn't spin the bike. I was so happy with the way I rode and the teamwork because they knew there was nothing more I could have done, and it was a 5th, but we didn't do it. We couldn't have done anything more, really. So as a team, we were all going away from Thruxton so happy that we done the best we could, and that's it. And we didn't do anything stupid to try and make something happen that weren't there on that day, because it's just one of them. We just got the most out of the situation. I think if we can do that all through the year, all through next year, we'll be in some really good places.
One thing that I'd like to ask you, now you're in this position as a rider with the team and in the whole situation, personal life, team, everything seems to be, the planets are aligned for you. What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself this season, now everything's settled? Is there something more that's come out of you that you've been searching for, or is there something that surprised you this season? You go, oh, that's different, I can do that. And do you know what I mean? It's a strangely phrased question, but you're in kind of unknown territory in BSB.
Yeah, it's a weird one, really. I mean, obviously, leading races, being up in the front of races and stuff like that, you're riding in a different way. In the last few years, there hasn't really been any sense of, defending a position because I'm already way too far back. And all I'm trying to do is pass, like riding aggressive. And now, like, if you're in the lead of a race and you just want to maintain it, or you're in second, but you don't want anyone else to come past you, just proper racecraft again. I was good at it in the 600s, and I lost that way because I just weren't doing it enough of it. I was in a completely different race in a dogfight, really. Whereas now I'm comfortable at the front, and you then have to everything's coming at you a bit slower. You're thinking about what the guy's doing in front of you, where he's strong, where you're strong, what the guys are doing behind you. Thinking about where their sectors are strong and where they've been all weekend, and where they're going to be able to pass you, where my bike's strong versus their bike, and where I've got to defend, whereas some places where I don't have to defend, and then if I do defend, I'm losing time. So it's just, we're just dissecting things and really developing our racecraft, and I think we've been really good since Knockhill, really. I mean, we made some points at Knockhill in the first race where I kept getting overtaken and I went back too far, but that was because I was just following the guy in front of me. I wasn't defending, and that was the problem, is you ride behind someone in BSB, the guy behind you is then going to pass you because you're giving him a gap. And it's just something that I just had to reprogram, and it was a real good point. And ever since then, I've been really good at it, and it's sort of made me think about it a bit more and go, when I'm coming into this corner, I need to defend. Even though I'm not going to pass the guy in front of me, I need to look like I'm going to pass him, so then the guy behind me don't pass me. And it's like, since then, I've been able to run a third place for 10 laps or run a first place for 8 laps, and maintain a position. Then I can really understand what the guys in front of me are doing, and you can have a couple of goes at someone but not pass them and think, right, okay, I can, if it's on the last lap, I know I can do you there, or then you build a couple of corners before that to make sure you can do it. So it's just, perfect example is like Brands Hatch, like the left before the last corner at Brands. That's the place where I had to pass the Ducatis because I could not pass them anywhere else due to power, and I had to build that from Hawthorns. Hawthorns build a little bit, Westfields build a little bit down the hill through the next right sheen curve, build more, and then I was able to make the move. But that took a lot of laps behind him and understanding where I was stronger, and I was a lot stronger there due to the bikes just good at corner speed, and around them fast flowing parts around the back of the circuit I was able to make the difference. So I'm just enjoying racing again. It's just nice. It's proper racing, I'm racing with real good lads. It's all good, clean, hard battling. Yeah. And we don't mind bumping elbows a bit and stuff like that, and as long as no one's being an idiot, we're all for it. Like, it's just mega good people, fast pace, good positions, and loving it. It's just mega nice, proper motorbike racing.
Listening to that, it's nice to hear that you're able to be in the moment of a race.
Yeah.
To now understand your position and your racecraft, because it's so important in this championship to be a part of that. But maybe the listeners and the viewers maybe don't understand that when you're not within that scenario and you're always chasing, you're not defending, and that's a fascinating insight. Thank you for that, because I'd never really considered that. Yeah. That you actually get out of practice. Just would you ask them, please? Just if they wouldn't mind. With Kate Bush running up the hill behind us, it's just a little bit close. Maybe we'll get them to put it back on when we're finished. But yeah, being in the moment is so special for a rider. And now you can experience that. That kind of dots the I's and crosses the T's almost.
Yeah, 100%. And again, you're focusing on your riding again, and not just, your lines go off and you're just in a dogfight, because people a little bit further back and stuff like that, everybody a little bit further back is capable of being at the front, and they're obviously not quite got the bike or the setup or the combination of what they need to be at the front. So all you do, they're just all riding as hard as they can, and braking as late as they can. I've been there. You're just trying to get everything out of the bike because it's not quite working right, and then you get people making stupid maneuvers, and it's sitting you up and it's slowing you down, and you lose the group, and then race is over, and you're just trying your hardest. You're in a dogfight. That's all it is. And you pass everyone wherever you can. Whereas at the front, it's a bit more calculation, and we need to not beat each other up at the start of the race. Try get a bit of a gap, then have it out. Yeah, it's like, because we all want to be on the podium, and it's kind of a bit like that. You've got to use your loaf a little bit, and it's just it's proper racing. It's good. I'm loving it.
Plans for the rest of the season?
Just continue exactly the way we are. Do exactly what we're doing. I think being on the podium at nearly every round and being up the front is good enough, really, at the minute anyway. And we've obviously missed Dalton Park, so to do a round there, a full round, and my first full round on the new bike will be crucial to set us up in a good place for next year. And that's what it's all building for, really. Obviously missing around and a bad first round with a broken wrist is never the best way to start a championship if you're in a championship hunt, but we're not out of it. I mean, the points, Carl was third in the championship, dropped to fourth, and we're like 30 points away now, 30 odd points, and 37 points from third in the championship, and I think we're like 80 something off of the leader, and it was 100 odd, and it was 80 points to Kyle at one point, and now it's 30. So our trend is in the right direction. We don't need to put any pressure on ourselves. We're not in it to win the championship this year, and we're building for next year. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and I'm sure we're going to bag plenty more podiums and hopefully get some race wins. And by the end of the year, I think we'll be sitting pretty in a decent place in the championship, and we'll be giving ourselves a massive pat on the back. And well, even if it was to end now, I'd be extremely happy and extremely proud. The team would be as well of what we've achieved this year. So just keep trending in that direction. I think we'll be on for a really good year.
That's something that's quite key. If the season was to end now, yeah, we'll do. We're happy with that.
Yeah.
Now let's go for next year.
Yeah.
Tell me about the input and the guidance and effects of having Roger Marshall in your corner.
Yeah, amazing. And to be honest, sometimes you bring someone into a team and it doesn't work because they don't fit the grain, and it can cause more problems. But Roger and my crew chief Dave, those two in particular, they gel so well, and they're absolutely on the exact same page, which just makes it so good. Like they're just that is the best thing about the team is, this isn't forgetting anything, the amazing things everybody else does, but for me, the closest two people in the team is my crew chief and Roger. And for those two to have such a great relationship with me and between themselves, makes the job so much better. Track walks, everything we do, bike setup wise, absolutely everything is all in the same. Everyone, those two guys have got me at their best interests, and that's the best thing about it as well. They just make decisions in the right way, and it's just we all get on. We have such a good laugh. People on the grid, they think we're all serious and stuff like that, and talking about probably engine brake maps and fucking all this sorts of rubbish. We're not. We're talking about absolute rubbish and stuff that Roger's done in the past that he probably really shouldn't have done. And
keeping hydrated, I think was his phrase.
And it's just like we have such a laugh, and that's what it's about. By the time you get to a race, you should have done the hard work with the bike, with yourself. I know every braking marker. I know how to ride the circuit at that point. We've got a great bike underneath me. All I need to do is just enjoy myself and go and ride the bike. How I've done all weekend. That's the good thing is that, even yesterday on the test evening at Cadwell, we were up to speed within 3, 4, 5, 6 laps. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then this morning, FP1, lap 4, I done my fastest lap of this weekend, and within lap 4.
That's early.
And I'm not trying to. That's the nice thing about it, is that I'm not going out there with a new set of tyres and going, right, I need to push for a lap time. I'm just building into it, and we're doing these lap times, and then that's race pace. Straight away from lap 4, we're on race pace. And then everything, chassis setup, any improvement is relevant because I'm on the pace. And then throughout the session, I don't know how many laps I did in that session, but 25 laps in, 20 laps in, something like that, I'm still matching my fastest lap time, which is, race winning pace. So everything's relevant, and then I know all I've got to do when I go into a race is do exactly what I've done from my 4th lap in FP1, and just keep doing that every time. Hit my marks. Don't break any later because I don't need to. Just hit my marks. And Roger's really good with that. Dave's amazing with that, and we're just all working the same way. Roger's experience, racecraft, stuff like this, what I was talking about with passing and stuff and being in the right positions. There's not anything he doesn't know about passing someone at Cadwell Park. And he's done it at corners that worked amazing probably 100 times, and he's also done it at corners where he's crashed probably and it's not worked, and he understands why. And it's the racecraft and stuff like that has never changed in racing. Winning the championship has never changed. All it is a combination of the most points scored over a championship, and that's done by consistency, and it'll never be done in any other way. And he knows that. And whatever, 12 times British champion, there's not many of them, and it don't matter what era it was done in. His knowledge and stuff like that, and the way he works is absolutely what I need. It might not work for someone else, but he's very good at working with a rider, filling you with confidence, and improving you. But I'm not trying to turn into Marc Marquez in a weekend. We're realistic, and I think we set out a goal probably by the end of this year. Actually, we've exceeded our goal massively, but we wanted to be by the end of this year, consistently in the top 6. Just consistently around that top 6 positions. And I think since we've been back, we've been easily consistently top 5, and most sessions have been top 3s. So it's been really good, and we didn't expect podiums and wins to come. But we're not letting ourselves get ahead of it. We're still doing exactly what we set out to do, our ambition at the start, just building into weekends, leaving from a very good weekend to the next circuit. We're not treating it with any other attitude. Go out to FP1 is FP1, and just build from there, and it works, and we're just going to keep doing that.
It's all you can do.
Yeah.
It's worked so far this season, and long may it continue for the end of this season and into next as well, which is nice to hear that you've got next season as well.
Yeah.
And thank you for being almost a perfect podcast guest, because I've only asked 4 questions.
I've done some talking. I don't know if that's what you want.
That's the idea. It's your
you
show,
had no choice.
It's not about me. I just host the show. I just ask the questions.
Yeah.
It's all down to the guests. So thank you, Ryan. That's been absolutely fascinating. We love having you on.
No, you're welcome.
Do something again, either at the end of the season, do a bit more of a deep dive when we've got a bit more time.
Yeah.
Or next time we're over in your neck of the woods, we'll come and sit down and do it over a brew and just go a little bit deeper if we can bring Roger in as well
100%.
and find the dynamic. I think there's more to be done on the podcast with you if you're up for that.
No problem.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan VICKERS.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon.